The first thing what we see is a young naked man sleeping on a couch. He's holding a white rose in one hand and the Bible or a praying book in the other. His fair skin is contrasted with the crimson red of furniture. Drawn like one of the Italian girls, he evokes connotations such as beauty, femininity, or innocence. That's the opening page of Shinichi Sakamoto's manga Innocence, continued later as Innocent Rouge. The title is a quasi-historical story of
Samson,
family, the royal executioners of France. Comics' excellent storytelling and visual layer are prominent since the first chapter, and I believe that first chapter is enough to show you the author's mastery in manga craft. This darker rose of Versailles starts quite innocently, with a child playing with her doll. In a sense, we, the readers, are represented as the little girl. We open the manga to find something entertaining, so out of curiosity we enter the mansion and look through many keyholes to discover some fun secrets. However, this fun secret, a room deeply hidden within the web of posh corridors, appears to be a torture chamber. The story immediately admits it will be beautiful and poetic, as well as ugly and violent. But we'll read it because we're too fascinated to stop looking. The first chapter is divided into two parts. Firstly, the main protagonist, a 14-year-old, please excuse my French, Charles Henry Sasso, and his father meet the chief merchant to receive a letter of recommendation. Sakamoto uses the situation to establish the position of Sasso family. We could suspect they're treated with utmost respect, but that's definitely not the case. In front of the Paris City Hall, the crowd greets the executioners with fear and disgust. People diverge, spit, turn their eyes away, and clean the path. Also, higher officials and nobility share such attitude. At the end of the meeting, the chief merchant drops the letter on the ground, so the father has to kneel before him. And after the protagonists exit, they air out the whole building. People behave as if the Sassos could bring a bad luck or were a death omen. It also shows that the family members have no real alternatives in terms of their environment and position. They are born with the curse and they have to bear it their whole life. However, that's not something that Charles wants. In the second part, we witness a family dinner during which the boy argues against him inheriting his father's position. Sakamoto takes care to underline the protagonist's emotional suffering and aversion by many expressive close-ups. In his mangas, the author tends to use a plethora of metaphors to make the story even more saturated. During the scene we can taste a bit of that. In this case the image is quite simple. Some flies are slowly drowning in Charles' soup. The panel discloses the boy's feelings, he's suffocating under his family's influence. Additionally, the dying insect associated with decay is drawn in contrast to the picture of luxury and many delicacies. It shows that something is rotten in the mansion of Sasso. What I love the most is Sakamoto's twisted way of introducing to us the rest of the family members. When they start praying before the food, the author lists everyone's name and position as future executioners. He excellently uses a contrast between sacrum and profanum, praying family, especially praying children, who will grow up to officially torture and behead people. Sakamoto goes even further with this picture. It reminds us of some classical noble family portraits like this one or that one. The difference is the picture exposes fear and darkness within the family. And, well, the table's on fire. The chapter ends with Charles on the torture chair, and here we've made a full circle because, guess what, we are still looking through the keyhole. As you can observe, Sakamoto prefers a realistic style of drawing. Because the story is inspired by historical events, such visual layer makes the plot more plausible. The author focuses not only on characters, their mimicry, proportions and beautiful hair, which deserve their own fan club, but also on clothes and backgrounds. In a short documentary, Sakamoto talks about his working routine, where the basis of his work is research and references. Before drawing, he and his assistants put on clothes similar to those from the 18th century and take many pictures which are used to properly portray body proportions and fabric. Sakamoto's realism derives from his need of capturing the spirit of the epoch. He carefully gathers information not only about such visible elements as clothes or architecture, but also on crests, toys, or tableware. Of course, the author uses his style not only to draw anxiously detailed lips, but also plays with it. He exaggerates some features and facial expressions, so, for example, people are dehumanized, they look like monsters. Or he manipulates environment, perspectives, light to make the atmosphere more tense and dramatic. And although the first chapter draws our attention, I believe we should treat it as a prologue, a warm-up. With the later chapters, there's more beauty, poetry and violence, and it depends on you if you leave the tempting keyhole, or you will stay here to observe the story of Rose of Versailles through the eyes of executioners. Thank you for listening me and my broken English, and I recommend you to look at my first video from now the series, Laugh Since the First Page or something like that. I'm not sure how I will title this yet. But yeah, stay healthy and wash your hands more often now. See ya!